Hey guys, it's TF Nut. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This time it's going to be of the brand new McFarlane Toys Elite Edition Fallout 76 version of the T-60 Power Armor. Very excited to have this figure here. I'm a big fan of Fallout. I still need to get back into 76. I played it back at launch, really wasn't digging it. Heard some good things about it now, but the Elite Edition here is very interesting. It's a sub-line of their stuff where they make certain figures of things like Dark Ages version of Doomslayer and then something from Diablo 4. And they have some other figures that are coming out, but they come with a lot of stuff, but they're like 60 bucks, dude. It's insane. And like, because of the tariffs, I think the Doomslayer got bumped up to 70 bucks, which is insane. So this was a $60 figure straight from McFarlane Toys website. I believe it's still up for pre-order. I'll leave links in the description below. This thing here looks really good. Is it going to be worth 60 bucks? We're going to have to find out. This thing here, very cool. I remember when McFarlane Toys teased a while ago that they would have worked on like Fallout 4 actual 7-inch figures, and they never made those. So it's nice to see some actual video game Fallout stuff coming from McFarlane Toys. You also do have, pretty much the whole box just shows off the figure and some of the accessories. You have the Fallout logo there. It also has the McFarlane Toys logo and Elite Edition in gold foil there. There is also a little bit of a backdrop going on here. It's not really easy to see, but all this stuff looks really cool in the box. Then you do have, I'll put this to the side. That is the McFarlane Toys logo with Elite Edition in gold foil there. This just says Fallout, and you do have a bit of the T-51 power armor going on there for that. And then this is just the box, or the game's box art. Or really half of it, I would say, because it's just a superimposed image of the T-51, even though this is the T-60. But that's how the marketing for 76 was done. Just the Fallout logo there on the back here. I believe this is one of the promotional arts for one of the expansions. So you have some of the different power armor there. Any of these as action figures would be super sick. I like that they've like kind of didn't say that this is from Fallout 76, but when you look right here, that definitely says Fallout 76 T-60. So there's a barcode right there in case you need it. And zoom out, there's some more credits going on right there, which not a lot of us are going to read that. So let's go ahead, get this figure out of the packaging. And here is the figure out of the packaging. It's quite a large figure, so I have to back it out a little bit. And I think that this definitely looks really good. When it comes to the other stuff, though, like the accessory count is good, but there are things that I do think it could do a little bit better for the price they're charging. Let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories, then we'll take a closer look at the figure. So I'm getting pretty sick of how McFarlane does this, but pretty much every figure, the card, the stand, and this extra thing here for the elite points, which is just to redeem points for prizes, basically. Yeah, they're just glued into the box. I really don't want to tear the inside of the box open right now, so I'm just going to show how it looks in here. You get a little bit of an idea of what's going on inside there. I'm kind of sick of them doing this, like I said. So here's a quick look at everything we get. We do have a Gauss minigun and LMG. We also have the Alien Blaster pistol, the Plasma pistol, also the laser pistol too. We have the T-60 pistol as well. You know, different hands, as well as the black diamond sword. So actually a lot of stuff here better be for 60 bucks. So let's talk about the hands. So opposite sides here, ambidextrous, are going to be, packaged on the figure, which means right fist, left trigger hand on the figure. So this is the left fist, of course, and right trigger hand. Very cool. We do have a bit of a black wash going on here in the hands. And I actually really dig a lot of the detailing on the back of the hands there, all like the servos or whatever would be, and actually probably not, whatever that is, but lots of inner workings on this power armor. The armor plating on here actually is really good. I don't know every single tiny little facet of what makes a power armor, so I do apologize, I might get some terms wrong, but like the fingernails, the way how, blocky those look, very accurate, I would say. And again, a little bit more black wash there. I do wish there was a bit more of like rust or dirt. It's just a black wash, and it's also not the most consistent. Like some of the knuckles are missing it a little bit, but I think it could be worse. Then you do have these unique hands going on here. So we have a left open hand. This is going to be for different types of posing, but mostly for holding two-handed weapons. And then we have a pointer finger. So I do kind of wish we got ambidextrous of these, but these are still pretty cool nonetheless to have. I'm really digging the pointer one. That's very dynamic. You can get a lot of stuff A lot of cool stuff out of that. You get a little bit of a better look at what the rest of the fingers look like on the inside there with the open hand. Again, there's actually, I feel like, more black wash on this left one. So that is pretty nice. Okay, so let's start from probably what I would say is one of the smallest accessories here. Then we go work up to the largest. I really dig how the alien, the alien pistol here looks really good, dude. I'm really digging it. It's pretty accurate from my understanding. Again, these are more the 76 oriented stuff, but this still also gives me Fallout 4 vibes. Really digging this very dark, almost brown, reddish type of, whatever these parts are on both sides with these like alien type rivets. Pretty dark, like gray plastic to make it look like it's gunmetal too. A little bit of a black wash, I would say. Maybe some dry brushing actually. The overall detail and sculpting and around the handle too. All of that is really awesome. I should mention, I'm going to have to show off images before we actually take a look at these accessories. So here's a quick image of what this looks like posed. And then some different hands will be shown off throughout the posing when it comes to showing off the different different weapons being used here. So there's that image. And then here's an image of this using the the laser pistol. Really digging how that looks. And I have a prop of this actually, because I have a Fallout cosplay. Maybe one day I'll do a video on it, and maybe not. We'll see. Anyway, we do also have a similar approach to that alien pistol going on here, where it's this darker type of gunmetal type of paint used, like a black wash or like dry brushing almost. Still looks really great. I do think that this looks a little plain when it comes to the actual paint application for the Fusion Cell, I believe. Again, it's been a while since I've played Fallout, so I do need to get back into some of these terms. But yeah, that's still really nicely done. Nothing going on here on the front. A little disappointed there's no detailing. There should be detailing there. But I do kind of wish this was also a laser rifle. Maybe they'll reuse this one day to turn this into a laser rifle. That would actually be kind of fitting, since you can customize guns in the later entries. But I mean, this very much harkens back even to, I mean, someone might shoot me for this. Maybe even like Fallout 3 kind of reminds me of that. But this definitely is more of the 76 and 4 variety. Still looks really awesome. So here's some quick posing with the T-60 pistol, which is pretty much just what I think is like maybe a Desert Eagle with a huge attachment on it. So that's still pretty good looking. I believe it's seen mostly in the I could be wrong. Again, I need to play more of 76, but it definitely wasn't in 4. It was definitely in the show as well. Again, this actually looks a little bit lighter when it comes to what silver looks like here, but again, more like black, dry brushing, I guess, or like a wash. Really digging a lot of the detailing on the outside here. You definitely get that realistic type of gun look here, that inspiration there, and then you have this very far out, very irregular type of huge attachment, which I guess is actually just part of the gun. I could be wrong about that too. Some Fallout purist is going to get really pissed off at me, so I apologize. But either way, this still looks nice. This is a softer plastic here, but be careful, that could snap on that. And just about every gun, besides maybe the Alien Blaster, fits in the hand very well. The Alien Blaster is a little bit loose. So when it comes to, at least if you want to have it, the hand that goes through the trigger guard, all of them work well. Now when it comes to two-handed poses, that's a whole nother story. But I digress for now. We do have the plasma pistol. Really nice green on the outside there. We have more of a darker silver going on. We have these like, this is a harder plastic. I feel like it's a little bit soft, but this little tube or wire, whatever that is, everything going on here. These pieces here, I don't know if these are ejection ports up here. I forget where you would load this. Yeah, I forget. But still looks great. The handle looks super awesome. Really digging the barrel going on there as well. So yeah, very awesome. Don't know if I showed off an image, but I'll go ahead and show off an image again, just in case I didn't do that properly. I do also want to transition to the black diamond here, because this thing is also a pretty nice sword, if not a little bit warped. So looking over here, you have some nice lettering going on there. Really dig this light blue, this clover going on there, this red all the way down there. But this side is flat. Keep that in mind. I would need to fix this a little bit. It's a little warped. You do have It's just mostly one tone of a dark gray here, so there's no like black wash or anything, but this still is rather nice. Okay, so here is an image of the LMG. Very much something that we have in our real world here. Forget the name of it exactly. Very much like a World War II type weapon. But still looks really good. This thing here, I will say it is hard for this to hold in two-handed poses just because of how the wrist articulation is done. And we'll talk about that in a second. LMG here still looks really good. Not really much dry brush though. It's just a darker gray gunmetal. Almost looks black. But a lot of the detailing on here is really fantastic. I like the detailing on the handle there. I'm honestly glad we don't have, I mean, it would be nice to have maybe some actual triggers in there, but they could break. Sometimes NECA figures have those and they end up breaking a lot. So I'm fine with that. This is pretty warped, so I do need to get some hot water on some of these accessories. These ports right there, looking really nice. Drum magazine, yeah, and that stock. This is still really sick. Last but certainly not least, we have the Gauze minigun. Now, for some reason, I do have a better time posing it like this. And I'm really hoping I'm not having this hold it in a way where it's oriented wrong, because someone might get mad at me for that. I'm pretty sure that this figure is holding this right. Anyway, we do have really nice red right here. Really digging that. It's a little bit dirty too, because it almost like a wash in there. Then there is actually some rust going on here around the barrel. Continued all the way throughout, getting towards the handle actually. Lots of great, just different details, inner workings of how this thing's supposed to work. This is also a little bit warped. Also, this could be fragile if you bend it too much. So yeah, maybe don't bend it a lot, but you know, if you need to bend it back in place with hot water, that's one thing. Now, my biggest takeaway is that this thing definitely looks like a T-60 power armor. Only a couple things are wrong with it, and they're not really that big of a deal. Number one, yes, there is already a wash on this, but I think it needs even more paint detailing. Mostly another little bit of wash, mostly consistent throughout. I feel like the color of the plastic is too bluish almost. I feel like it needs to be a little bit more on the actual gray side. The only other thing I can think of is that some details, I feel like the detailing could be a little bit better. I feel like the sculpt work could just be a little bit better in these brown sections in the tubes or whatever. Maybe like right here. If I look around here and point something out, not everything needs better detailing because it already looks pretty good, but I think some areas of the helmet could look a tiny bit better. I just feel like we have these newer games and a TV show now, so the T-60 has had a lot of detail done to it, in different media. Excuse me, but this thing still looks incredible. I really like how the visors are done, the eyes section. Part of me does wish that this had some yellow here to make it look like the light is turned on, but I'm also glad that we don't have that, so you're not restricted for it, to be turned on all the time, basically, if it was painted yellow. This little viewfinder piece here is softer plastic. It does get in the way a little bit, but not a big deal. And where we do have a wash, I think is quite good, especially in some of these crevices, but could be a little bit better around, could be more spread out, like right here. And some areas don't have enough. Like I feel like the cheeks should maybe have a little bit more. The back of the head should also have a bit more. At least it's like, you get a lot here, and then there's like a weird cutoff, I feel like. You can see some separation of the plastic, which is going to happen with something like this. Like these tubes. I don't know if there's any separated plastic here. I feel like this separates. I could be wrong. I don't think these things can pop out either, so I'm not even going to try. But it's almost like a very dark green type of plastic here. Still looks really awesome. There's just a lot of detail that they did capture going on in this helmet. Back of the head, a little bit of these vents going on there. This backpack system looks cool. Imagine they made a jetpack for this. That would have been insane and extremely back heavy. But little dial here, for opening it up, does not actually move. It is a softer, separate piece of plastic though. These little vent sections, whatever these are, these tubes, I should say. These tanks, I guess they're air tanks. Again, not super familiar with every single little inner working of a T-60 or any power armor, but lots of great detail. We do have a little bit of a wash going on there. You're definitely going to want to add more dirt to this thing, even maybe a little bit of rust. And then there's some areas it's like brown, but in some ways it looks kind of purple. And I feel like that's maybe because of the type of plastic or the color of the plastic being used here. Again, it just is a little too bluish for me. If it was way more on the actual gray side, I think it would still look, I mean, it still looks good, but it would look a little better if you ask me. But that the chest section with all those rivets and whatever's going on here, that is really, really awesome. And there's like some variation going on here. There's different colors almost, it looks like. So we have like a lighter brown, almost purplish, and then we have this dark gray. And that really gives it a lot of personality, honestly, to make it look like there's just a lot of wear and tear. I wish it was just a little bit more consistent in the different areas here. Then you get to these shoulder pads. They're quite huge. A little hole right there and right there. These are separate pieces. They really won't pop out though. And I'm very scared for my life how these ball joints are done here, these dumbbell joints, really. But then you have like whatever this is on the inside. It's not like padding, I don't think, but that's different, you know, separate piece there, little piece overlaps there. You see all that. And then these, I want to say these are like slight mesh or fabric type pieces going on. Looking really good. Get all the way down to the forearm there. And on this here, with that, you get that a little bit again too, where it's like gray, but then you have this purplish brown almost. So again, I just think that looks really good. If it was like, maybe it would look a little messy if the whole figure looked like that, but I kind of wish they at least tried it. So this is what the figure comes packaged with, this right hand fist. Still looking quite good. This is a very rusty hand compared to the rest of the ones that we get there. Same thing with this when it comes to the left trigger hand. I feel like it's a little bit dirtier and has some more dark variation going on there. And then this is what this other forearm looks like, and this whole other arm actually going on there. And then the sides, didn't really talk about that. These like vent sections would maybe be tubes. I keep saying vents. I really don't think I'm using that word right. Sorry. So whatever tubing is going on here still looks really good. Not bad. We get down to the stomach, and because there's articulation up here, it looks like there's some sections that could actually have some better, I feel like could have some better sculpt work and even some paint going on there. But then like this actual like gray section for the stomach looks pretty good. The brown is a nice change of pace that mixes some things up a little bit, and the red there too is a little bit of a splotch there. That looks really great. Crotch area, not too bad either with these little dial things, whatever these are. Then the buttocks, again, really nice plating all the way around. We do have some purplish brown going on there with a little bit of like a dark gray or brown mixed into that. I do worry about the hip sections here, because these actually are quite thin looking going into this, like, you know, this T-joint. And there's a lot of plastic that's going to be doing some heavy lifting. These legs are already a little wobbly, unfortunately. But we do also have some good, again, I don't know if that's like a mesh or something still with armor going on here, but it's darker, like a dark gray. Some nice line sculpt work going on in there. These large pieces are a little bit soft, but not super soft, that go around the hips. So this really, there's no out section because of that. But that's supposed to be accurate, I'm pretty sure. And then we start to get to an area where they have a little bit of a wash, but they kind of skimp out a little bit around here. But like these sections have some variation of detail. Inner thigh sections, you can see some of that. Even where you get some, you know, part separation around here, I believe it is. This could be, maybe this is all one piece and that's just sculpted. I'm not entirely sure, but this does kind of look glued to me. But we do have some different color going on there. You know, some black to bring out some of that detailing in those panels. Excuse me, my throat's dry. Then we do have paint around the, you know, the knee section there. But when you bend it, you do get some of what was, you know, going on here in the knee section. Still looking really good. Lots of great like rivets. I guess tube sections, could be wrong on that, but the way that like the outer legs look, all looks great. These little servo rotating pieces, whatever these are, still look awesome. This piece here is a softer plastic. This could snap if you're not careful. And then like this has, it's almost like blood. I know it's not, but that going on in there actually is quite nice. And then really heavy on this, like, I guess rust going on there around the feet. It almost like some dirt too. Bottom of the feet, you do get peg holes right there. A little bit of a trademark right there. And then the back of the ankles. So this thing just, I think the sculpt work is there and looks great. And paint work really isn't that bad. I made it sound like at some points maybe it was awful. It's really not. I just wish it could be a little bit better. Does this have articulation? Yes. Is it hindered? Also yes. Is it also supposed to be a bulky piece of armor? Yes. But at the end of the day, hindered is hindered. So let's just talk about it. The head doesn't really want to go up that far. Kind of goes down. Yeah, I should zoom out a little. Side to side on like this dumbbell, I'm pretty sure could be better, but a swivel actually isn't too bad. It kind of hinges forward and back. We have a dumbbell joint for each of the shoulder pads. Again, these feel a little fragile, but you can move it around, shimmy it up and down just a little bit. Again, wouldn't move it around too much, but it does allow for you to push out the arm pretty nicely. It maybe wants to have a butterfly joint, but it really doesn't. So arms, these things still get in the way, so you can't really go all the way around. It's possible if these are out of the way, I guess. Then we have actual upper arm swivel here. This is a single joint elbow there that almost gets 90. Actually, it gets right at 90, but you really got to push it too. So I don't think there's any other extra articulation. So these are really, let me take this out really quick. We do have what I believe is supposed to be, we have a hinge here, and then it maybe should rotate in there, but it really doesn't want to. So it hinges, and then you can rotate it at the actual peg at the hand, but I feel like the rest of that is really hindered. It's for both sides too. Just the ball joint here, it actually does get full rotation, so that's good. Kind of shimmies a little bit, but this is a little loose, almost like a bobblehead. So the rest of the range of motion isn't great. Side to side, forward and back, but swivel's fine. Legs can't kick out at all. Look at that. That's me kind of going hard, pushing it too. Back actually better, which is interesting. Very little split. Again, be careful with these T-joint legs, but there is a little bit, just ever so slightly, a thigh swivel built in there. We do have single joint knee that really doesn't bend at all. And then we do have, I believe, a dumbbell joint going on here at the ankle. So it could be pushed forward and back. Oh wow, look at that. Even more of the detailing I didn't get to show off. It can swivel, it can pivot a little, really in like that. But yeah, I feel like the articulation could be better. Again, I get it. Bulky suit here still would be nice. So this figure is quite big, as you can see here, measuring out around 20.5 to 21 centimeters. So that's going to put this around the 8.5 inch mark. It's going to be much taller since it's basically 1/10 basically scale compared to 1/12 scale or close to 1/12 scale stuff like the Funko Fallout 3 figures, the T-45 and the Lone Survivor there. Those are a blast from the past. Maybe I need to do a video on those one day. Far left, standard size McFarlane figure, Johnny Silverhand from Cyberpunk 2077. Far right, standard size Marvel Legends Spider-Man. So this thing is really massive. Overall, I'm just going to be honest here. I really would only recommend this if you're a super massive fan of the Fallout franchise. I'm really not in love with what we got going on here, and I do want to love it. Don't get me wrong, it looks really cool. I love the size. The fact that it is bigger than normal size McFarlane Toys stuff is really sick. And I really dig its overall sculpt work throughout pretty much the whole figure. I think a couple areas have a little bit of shallow sculpting that could have some more definition there, but the accessories, the detail and paint on them, and the amount of stuff we get there is really nice. I just think that the overall paintwork on the actual figure could be more consistent, and the colors are really bothering me, honestly. I feel like it just needs to be more silver. Maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me, and maybe it's supposed to look like this, but I feel like this is just way more of a pale blue than it should be a silver. And I understand that this is going to be a bulkier action figure, and things are going to get in the way of articulation, but the power armor can do some stuff, guys. I'm just being honest. Kind of wish that was reflected in the articulation here, but I guess that's the trade-off with a bulkier action figure. I really do want to love this, and I don't think it's a god-awful figure or anything, but this is a very hard ask, especially for $60. I really don't see the value here. $45, maybe, but I think this is going to be locked at $60 for a while, unfortunately, if it doesn't sell out soon. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.